Hi, I'm Vicki, and I'm going to read from my book, Blessing the Hands That Feed Us, What Eating Closer to Home Can Teach Us About Food, Community, and Our Place on Earth. I'm going to start with the introduction. In September 2010, I undertook an experiment that turned out to be one of the greatest adventures of my life. It was so small at the start, but eventually grew and blew me wide open. A farmer friend wanted a guinea pig to test whether she could actually feed another human being for a full month from what she could grow on her half-acre. I wanted to test, from a sustainability perspective, if we here on Whidbey Island could survive without access to that cornucopia called the grocery store. We called the experiment a 10-mile diet. I've done other sustainability as an extreme sport experiments many times. I've fasted for food for 10 days, from talking for a month, from air travel for a year. Anything that would bring me closer to a life of integrity. I think sustainability is meant to be put into practice, not just debated. So thus began my 10-mile diet for a month in September 2010. And we agreed that I would eat as much from Trisha's garden as possible, but that I could find other food, meat, cheese, milk. I found milk, but I discovered it was illegal, as I could in my 10-mile radius. And I blogged every day. I agreed with Trisha that I would blog about it. I would write about my experience. Here's from my blog. For this month at least, it seems Trisha and I are engaged in an equal exchange. She wakes up in the middle of the night fearing I might starve. I do too. No, seriously, this challenge is growing her as a market gardener, and the cost is a box of veggies and a dozen eggs a week. I'm examining my relationship with food, and really the food system, and all it costs is 500 words a day, blogging for food. Wonder if that would work in a pinch if I stood by the road with a cardboard sign. So I struggled with, getting enough to eat, getting the things I wanted with my own psychological demands for certain foods at certain times. But what's really important was my relationship with my farmers, the fields. I had a sense of food. I actually could feel food after a while. And I shifted from being an anywhere, anytime, anything eater to a local relational eater in a living food system. I want to read a passage about some of these shifts. Relational eating encompasses the whole shift from eating as a private affair from a vast, continuous smorgasbord heaped high by the largely invisible industrial food system to eating in a living food system where food is precious because I know the farmers, the farms, the farm animals, the fruits and foraging spots, and the vicissitudes of the season. Relational eating involves my heart and soul, not just my mouth, because I now live somewhere, not just anywhere. My food had gone from industrial to intimate, but there were even more transformations beyond the provenance of my food. My relationship with my body shifted. Instead of being a possession that I judged, adorned, displayed, fed, and used as I like, I saw it now as a living, breathing part of a living landscape. When I take 3 deep breaths to start meditation, I am not just relaxing my body, I am filling my lungs and belly with here. Here receives my feet as I walk. My relationship with food has shifted. Instead of yo-yoing between gluttony and dieting, I actually enjoy food. It's the relational part that makes the difference. I get intimacy and nourishment now, not just flavor and, oh my God, calories. The word diet has come to mean what one eats here, just as people have done for centuries. My relationship with my community has shifted. I had no idea how much of a visitor I was, even owning a home. I had no real stake in the place, in the people or nature. Through local eating, I actually came home. My relationship with cooking has shifted. From someone with an adequate repertoire of dishes I liked, I have become a cook with a growing ability to feel what I might do with this root or leaf or fruit or mussel right in front of me, and how I might honor its qualities by cooking it well. My relationship with entitlement even changed. The unconscious privilege afforded me by my class, education, and experiences has switched to a humble awareness that whoever my ego imagines I am, the reality is that I live by the grace of what lives around me. Finally, my relationship with activism changed. I'm no longer fueled by an underlying terror at what my species is making of this world, and am motivated now by a real sense that our lives can truly be a blessing to the earth. All of this is bundled in the term relational eating. I want to read a little bit more about this shift as an activist from operating out of fear to operating out of love. And it's a section called Serotonin, and you'll see the word serotonin is defined in this section. Anytime I feel that hope requires that hyper-missionary zeal that exhausted me in the 90s, I ground myself, literally. I go into my yard and let life fill me. However paved the earth, however complex our lives, however large our problems, I take comfort and refuge in the fact that underneath the surface, life is going on about its business, waiting for the right conditions to send up a shoot and have at it again. I saw this miracle in practice many times in my years on the road. I often camped in landscapes recently devastated by fire, yet carpeted in magenta fireweed, a plant designed to come alive when a forest is mowed down. The tall fireweed becomes the shelter where other seedlings, like lodgepole pines, can develop. The cones of a lodgepole pine are sealed tight with a resin that melts only in the heat of a fire, releasing the seed to begin foresting again. This coming to life after fire is a type of serotonin, delays in blooming until conditions are right. These pines remind me that what is scarred is merely cleared. What is burned is nutrient for what comes next. The fireweed isn't the winner, but simply the herald of a succession of lives, the beginning of the next mature forest. In life, hope is hospitality, making a good bed where the next guest in the landscape can find shelter. This is how life always behaves. From the point of view of the forest, cities look like a firestorm came through, cutting down most everything standing. From the point of view of the seed, wherever there is soil, there is opportunity. Life has more tricks up her sleeve than any of us will ever know in our lifetime, serotonin being one of them. What other seeds are in the soil waiting to sprout? Be they mustard seeds of faith or fireweed of youth, or even ancient seeds from a previous interglacial period. Knowing this, even hope seems too small a ground to stand on. I now have trust. Hope allows us to act with expectancy. Trust allows us to relax into what is, into the resilience of life itself. Hope is our relationship with the future. Trust is our relationship with the eternal present. Hope lets us try. Trust gives us the assurance that we are not inventing, but cooperating with forces more powerful than our little human wills. It is in this spirit of trust that I invite you to read on, to ask, how can I, where I live, engage in this work of food system restoration? You will be cooperating with a movement that's growing, well, like weeds. Young people in droves want to farm now. In fact, most of the young people I now know consider my generation and me the fireweed and lodgepole pines. They are about to grow a new forest. And I finally want to read just a little section on the title of the book. Like the 10-mile diet caper itself, I picked the title, Blessing the Hands That Feed Us, on a whim. I thought it was just a clever play on biting the hands that feed you, a phrase that means ingratitude toward your benefactors. As I wrote, however, I realized how profound the act of blessing is, how far it goes. Now the hands that feed me include the organisms in the soil, the bees that spread pollen, the birds that spread seeds, and the forest where the mycelium of chanterelles grows in the darkness until conditions are right for the mushrooms to appear. The hands now also mean the miraculous dynamism of nature itself, how the sun warms the surface, driving cycles of wind and rain, while bestowing the very energy green plants need to make chlorophyll. The hands are not just the farmers' hands, but the truck drivers and the grocers and the researchers and the teachers who pass on knowledge to young people so the whole growing cycles can continue. To bless doesn't just mean think good thoughts or be nice. To bless is far more radical. It is to actually give life, to have one's cup run over into the lives of others. To have one's parents' blessing is to have each of them send you off into life saying, I see you, I know you're good, I believe in you, I trust you, I'm proud of you, may you be fruitful and multiply, whatever that means to you. To bless is to speak from and for and to the divine, as a priest blesses a marriage or christens a baby. To bless is to respect the integrity and mystery of life of another. And this holiness is what I sense through buying, cooking, and eating real food grown by real people in real places, my farmers. Thank you.